What's up, guys? Let's get started, huh? What's up, Interfacer? Checked in early. You are a soldier of metal, a true soldier of metal and horror movies. This is the so I've done live streams before, usually with friends and stuff. This is not only is it the first time I've ever done this by myself, it's the first time I've ever been on time. So let's give me some credit for that. I'm usually at least 3 or 4 minutes late with some kind of tech difficulties. And I hope there aren't tech difficulties this time around because I actually have everything set to like full high definition, like 1080 high definition. I guess before I was set to like 720 or something. So I don't know. Because of that reason, it might get choppy. I can change the definition though. But anyways, what we're here for. Um, I know that the majority of my subscribers aren't super into movies, which is okay. I get it. You know, most of you guys are more into metal and music in general and stuff. When I started this channel, I had always, had the intention of bringing in horror movies and stuff and movies in general. I just always assumed that like all metal fans love horror movies too, but then I learned that that's not really the case. A ton of you guys just aren't. It's just not your thing, and I get that. Um, I gotta say, I'm just inspired lately, man. I mean, it's not that I love music any less than I ever have. It's always been an obsession of mine, but like after 30 years of being serious into music, listening to it every single day of my life, writing reviews and blogging, something that I used to do back in the day. I don't want to say I'm burnt out, but I'm maybe a little bit burnt out. What's up, Andre? How's it going? Andre, yep, Andre from Moscow. Yep, yep. He's Andre is my Russian subscriber, which is awesome. I don't have too many like European subscribers, so it's cool to have a little bit of variety. Anyways, what was I saying? Um, yeah, after so many years and years and years of just being so serious about music, I've kind of rediscovered my love for cinema lately, specifically horror movies, but not only. I'd only watched horror for like God, like several years of just horror movies and nothing but. Lately, I've been branching out, which is nice, but I have been, yeah, just rediscovering my love of cinema, and that's not where that's I'm not saying I'm changing the direction of the channel or anything like that, but there is going to be a heavy dose of movies from here out, or at least for the time being. I'm really into, really enjoying writing movie reviews. I'm scripting them, and I've got like 3 reviews coming. I've already done a few. I didn't think they were really very good. I think the ones that I've been working on lately are a little bit better. So, anyways, got 2 people in here right now. That's plenty enough for me. That's it's about the most I can keep track of. How are you guys doing? Hopefully, I'm not sipping on my coffee too loud. Got Interfacer. You're always here. I don't know what your I don't know if you've ever told me your first name. That's okay if you don't want to reveal it, but always good to have you. And Andre from Moscow, of course. Uh, one of my favorites. I gotta say, I try not to play favorites, but you're fucking awesome. Hope you guys are doing well. What we're here to do today is to not only talk about the movies I've been watching lately, but I'd love to hear about what you guys have been watching lately. I have You might have seen this. I know at least you two have seen my some of my movie videos. Got my duffel bag of death loaded with movies. This is all stuff that I've watched over the last couple of months. There's probably 40 or 50 movies in there. Don't worry, we don't have to talk about them for some of them we might just gloss over for 10 seconds. Maybe some we'll talk about for a few minutes. This doesn't have to be a super long thing. Maybe it will. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. 2 is a crowd. Yeah. 3 is an orgy. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. I'm not really worried about waiting and seeing if anyone else shows up. A lot of my live streams, people will just watch them later, and I do the same thing. I don't always have time to watch live streams as they're happening, but if it's something that I think is cool and I'm interested in, I'll check it out later. I'll watch it. Maybe I'll even watch it if they're long. I'll watch it over 3 or 4 sessions. So I suppose we could just get started. I kind of wanted to make this a challenge. And so I didn't take any notes or anything like that. I didn't even put these in this duffel bag in any order. And to be honest, I just kind of threw them in. So I'll just pull them out randomly. And like I said, you guys can tell me about what you've been watching too, because that's something that's very interesting to me. Love to know what people are into and what they're doing and stuff like that. So I guess we'll just get started. Like I said, this is just completely random. Start with the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Obviously, this is not the first in the series, or is it? No, this is the second one. Fuck, I don't remember. Yeah, this is number 2 of the trilogy. Now, this series, Andre, you're watching French Connection. Classy. Wow. I've never seen French Connection. Obviously, I know about it, but anyways, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So the Planet of the Apes trilogy, I completely ignored when it came out. What I saw was big blockbuster type shit. I was, neck deep into horror movies. I wasn't interested in this at all. I had zero interest in checking it out. But I'll be honest, I don't know if any of you guys watch Red Letter Media here on YouTube, the best movie channel of all time, in my opinion. They talked about some of these movies and they actually really liked them. So, being a poser, I guess I went and picked them up, and they are really, really good. I've only seen the first 2 so far. I haven't watched War of the Planet of the Apes just yet because, I don't know. I don't really. I love these apes. I don't want to see a bunch of them die. And I know, obviously, if you're gonna have a war, you're gonna have casualties. And I really love some of these ape characters. I know they're fucking CGI. They're not real by any means, but I just don't want to see them die. So I've been hesitant to watch War, but Dawn, really good, really tense, man. I might like the first one a little bit better. This one's a little bit more actiony, but yeah, man, just really, really, really intense movies, and good acting, good CGI. I think these are good. Glad that I checked them out. I'll watch War eventually. Interfacer Gene Hackman, my friend, was just mentioning that movie last night. Shit, I didn't even know Gene Hackman was in. I guess I don't know much about French Connection at all. I didn't know Gene Hackman was in it. Gene Hackman's great. What's up, Nate? Haven't seen the Apes movie since it came out. Yeah, I just, like I said, just got into them. So, yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe rewatch them if you don't really remember them, or if you maybe were, maybe had mixed feelings. Also, you guys might notice I actually put at least a couple of seconds of effort in the lighting. This is my live stream lighting is always garbage because I'm lazy about it. So it's not great now, but it's at least things are visible. All right, next we're moving on to a very dirty DVD case. I'm not sure why, but I just picked this one up recently, so I haven't shown it on my channel yet. Very nice Criterion version of David Lynch's Inland Empire. I'm a big David Lynch fan. I don't have all of his stuff, but I have a good handful. I have most of his stuff. And I knew about this movie, but I just never got around to checking it out. Man, this one is a journey. Let's just put it that way. This is a 3-hour movie it's a David Lynch movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it's about because it's, a lot of Lynch's work is kind of open to interpretation, and trying to review. Oh man, what a nightmare. Reviewing a Lynch movie to me would just be, at least to me being a complete amateur, that would just be a nightmare. I don't know how you'd do that. Obviously, the Criterion Blu-rays. Criterion does great work. It's got 2 discs at least. It's got a huge booklet full of cool stuff. So yeah, I don't even think I'm really gonna talk too much about this movie because I don't think I'm even qualified to do so. You got Laura Dern as the main lead actress, I guess you could say, and she's fucking great. She just absolutely adds so much depth and emotion to this movie. Let's see, maybe I could just read the back, and I'll just read the back for you. How about that? So, yeah, Strange What Love Does, The Role of a Lifetime, a Hollywood Mystery, A Woman in Trouble. David Lynch's first digitally shot feature makes visionary use of the medium to weave a vast meditation on the enigmas of time, identity, and cinema itself. featuring a tour de force performance from Laura Dern as an actor on the edge. This labyrinthine dream factory nightmare tumbles down an endless series of unfathomably interconnected rabbit holes as it takes viewers on a hallucinatory odyssey into the deepest realms of the unconscious mind. A lot of big words, a lot of that might not have made any sense to you, but having seen this movie, that's actually pretty accurate. What I thought was cool about this is you do have there is some linear storyline going on there, but there's like, let's just say there's 5 or 6 different actors, and they just kind of reuse them throughout the different scenes. So you'll see one actor playing a different character, and then you'll see another actor playing that same character in the next scene. Very cool movie, but I'll give it a rest. Yeah, Andre, I think you've told me that you were David Lynch fan at one point, maybe. I'm not surprised. Either way. Nate, always up to rewatch good movies. Recently did that with Alien. My daughter never seen it. How old is your daughter? I've been trying to get my son into movies. He's 14. He does like movies. He's more into anime. He likes animated, cartoons, Bob's Burgers, South Park, typical teenager stuff. He does like horror, and I have gotten him into, every now and then I can get him to sit down and watch a good horror movie. I don't know if he's seen Alien yet. We watched Aliens. I think last Christmas or something like that. But yeah, he needs to see Alien because what you said, Alien. Yeah, that Alien's my favorite, man. Aliens is great, love it. But I'm almost always kind of baffled when people are like, "Oh, Aliens is the better movie." I'm like, I just don't see it, man. It's great, it's awesome, but Aliens. Oh, your daughter's 14. That's awesome. She really likes horror. Good job, man. My son has actually been kind of getting me into anime. I mean, anime has been around since the 80s, since, before I was born even. I was born in 82, but he's been, I dig some of it. I think all of it's very cool. I grew up watching cartoons and reading comic books and stuff. I love anything anime, and anything that's well done and animated, I love. But some of that anime to me seems, I don't know. Some of it's kind of weird. Some of it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm always open to checking out new stuff. Same year as your sister. Yeah, 82. Yeah, just turned 41 May 21st, actually. All right, next. This was a cool one. Hole in the Ground. This is an Irish movie from A24. So the reason that I picked this up is because Lee Cronin, the director, went on to do that new Evil Dead movie, the Evil Dead Rise. So I was like, oh, he'd only done one other movie before that, so I figured I had to check it out. And I thought Evil Dead Rise was all right. I know I kind of bashed on it a little bit. On second watch, I liked it a little more. I didn't love it. It's okay. I actually like this more, his first movie. This is just a really cool, what would you call this without spoiling it? It's about this young mom and her young son. Let's see. I think the father dies, if I remember correctly, so they move out into the country. The son goes missing at one point. He kind of has like night terrors, and he sleepwalks and stuff. So he's always concerning the mom. He's always disappearing and stuff, like, especially now moving into the country. He's like wandering out into the woods. So one day, he's gone for a while. He comes back, and he's just not the same. He looks the same, sounds the same, and everything. He appears to be the same kid, but there's just something off about him. And I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that if you haven't seen it, because this is a really cool movie. So check this one out if you haven't seen it. Nice slow burn, as to be expected from A24. A little bit artsy, but not too much by any means. Really dug this. Cool. I haven't seen a whole lot of Irish film, so check out Hole in the Ground. Remember the night she was brought home from hospital? Oh, okay. So you were 5. Yeah, I'm the oldest in my family. I got 3 siblings. And I can remember all of them being born. I think I'm only like I think I'm only 4 or 5 years older than my sister, but I can remember every single one of them being born. Oddly enough, because my memory fucking sucks. Yeah, man, hole in the ground, very cool. Let me know what you think if you get around to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's on some streaming platforms. Cool. So you can check it out without even having to buy it or anything like that. So, next one. This one might be a kind of a shocker for some of you guys. It was kind of for me too. I always liked Keanu Reeves. I always thought he was a cool dude. Maybe not a top tier actor or anything like that, but always wanted to check out the John Wick movies, and I finally did. I actually have all three. Well, there's four now, but I have three of the four. I've only watched the first one so far. I'll be honest, I'm not as into action movies as I was in the 80s and 90s, but this one definitely scratches that itch. This one is a total throwback, to the 80s and 90s, and so I had a really good time with this one. I'll be honest, I kind of avoided it for the longest time because I was aware of the kind of premise of the movie about his puppy being killed, and I really just didn't want to see that. Obviously, it's not like in graphic detail, but man, it is really sad, and especially the whole premise. I knew that his puppy was killed, but what I didn't know was that it was like uh, basically like a gift on the way out from his dying wife. She basically, got him the puppy to replace herself. So, oh man, yeah, that was a tough watch, but it was fast and it was not super detailed and graphic or anything, but fun movie. Obviously, he goes on a major killing rampage and just fucks everyone up, as you would expect. Yeah, I liked it. Excited to watch the others. I've heard the fourth one is awesome. Maybe one of the best in the whole series, which is cool that it's still going strong. And like I said, Keanu Reeves is just a cool dude. Yeah, it was a fun time. Glad that I finally checked it out. Yeah, Nate. Yeah, you're right. If you're gonna go on a passionate killing rampage, you got to have some fuel, right? You're not just gonna do it. Killed my dog, and they took his car. That's true. Added insult to injury. All right, next one we got an anthology. This is a fun one. Nightmare Cinema. This was fun. This is one of those anthologies. They're very common nowadays, where you get like a whole bunch of different directors. Everyone gets to direct their own chapter or whatever. So you got Mick Garris, veteran. A lot of these are veterans, actually. Joe Dante from my favorite movie, Gremlins. David Slade of 30 Days of Night. Not going to be able to pronounce the Japanese guy's name. Ryuhei Kitamura, maybe? That's probably pretty close. From Midnight Meat Train, which I do have that movie. It was a Clive Barker story, so that's cool. Alejandro Brues from Juan of the Dead. I've never heard of Juan of the Dead, but I'm interested. I don't know if that's all of them. I think it is, actually. So this one was pretty cool. I remember, as all anthologies go, not all chapters are equal, but I don't think any of these were bad. But I do think the one that starts off, I think with these anthologies, you need to have one of your heavy hitters as the first chapter, and I don't think they really succeeded with that in this one. I think the first chapter was maybe my least favorite, but it gets pretty good. And the cool thing about anthologies is, you might not like one, but the next one you probably will. So you get a mixed bag, and you're going to end up liking some of it. So Nightmare Cinema, this one was a cool. I just love anthologies, so I'll watch any of them. Let's see. Cannot handle dogs dying, and yeah, we've talked about that, man. Any pet family member, yeah. John Wick did it well. Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah. Obviously, that wasn't something that was going to be shown in graphic detail. That no one would have liked that. But yeah, we've talked about that. We're pretty much on the same page. Yeah, moving on. I think there's going to be in the stack a couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, if I remember correctly. So starting off with Nightmare Series Encyclopedia. This came with that box set that came out in like the late 90s or early 2000s. You'll know that because of these clippy things. They obviously don't make these stupid things anymore. So this came in that box set. That was the only, I don't think they sold this separately, but I could be wrong. So this is just a kind of a, I don't want to call it maybe a mini documentary. You got like Wes Craven talking about, some of the filming of some of the movies, and it was enjoyable. You could tell it was kind of cheaply thrown together just for the box set, but hey, it was in there, and it was a decent watch. I don't even think it was very long, half an hour, maybe an hour. So yeah, you got the documentary exploring the nightmares, some some interactive stuff. Remember the interactive DVDs? I never really cared about those. DVD-ROM content, a trivia game. It was cool. Yeah, I'd say check it out just for the little mini documentary, just because just listening to Wes talk is always a fun time. He just seems like such a gentleman. Yeah, Wes Craven, R.I.P. indeed, Andre. He just seemed like a good ass dude, 99 this came out at. Yes, 99. I was pretty close. I said late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, it just seemed like a good guy. I'm not going to say anything bad about him right now. I don't think he was necessarily one of the best directors ever, but he did direct some cool stuff, and that's all that matters. Let's see. Do I have a video on the most fucked up, disturbing films you've seen? You mentioned that, and asking because I recently watched Irreversible. Oh my God, dude. Irreversible is a tough watch. I think Irreversible is one of the hardest movies to watch that I've ever seen. It's a good movie. It's really good. It's a well-made movie, incredibly well-made. It's an artistically made movie, but holy fuck, dude. No, I haven't made one yet, but I've actually considered it. I remember I jotted down some notes maybe 2 years ago or so. That was a video idea that I've had. So I'll have to get on that. Because I have in my collection, I probably at least have 5 to 8 movies that are tough watches along the lines of Irreversible. Maybe not anything that you guys aren't already aware of, but it's an interesting topic, right? Interfacer, Serbian film. So I'll admit I have not seen Serbian film. I'm open to watching it, but I've been guarded about it, obviously. Yeah, maybe I'll see it. I don't know. What do you think? Should I bother? I'm sure you're going to probably say no, but one of those movies that you watched and you're like, oh man, why did I do that? Pour myself some more coffee here. I'm gonna run out at this rate. All right, next. Well, didn't mean to make these in order, but they just happen to kind of be. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. So I actually am one of those people that I like all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Not equally. I think some are definitely better than others, but I find all of them watchable. Let me refresh myself real quick. Which one is this? So I've been watching them all lately. Final Nightmare. Okay, yeah, this one. This one is I like it all right. This might be the weakest out of all of them, maybe, but I found it okay. I found it enjoyable. I like it. What year did this one come out? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Oh, 91. Okay. 91. Wow. Yeah, this one's okay. I think I'd have only seen it twice when I watched it a couple weeks ago. I had a good time. I don't know. Let's see. Keeping up with the chat. Serbian film is probably the most fucked up one I've seen. Yeah. Why did I do that? Generally speaking, I say people should always take caution and be guarded, but never underestimate your capacity to handle a true gut punch. Yeah, that's true. Andre, I think this is the one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one where Alice Cooper. Yeah, there's the flashback scene. Alice Cooper's playing Freddy's dad. That was kind of cool, actually. I like when Alice shows up in movies. He hasn't been in a ton, but he I don't know. He's always cool when he shows up. Not a huge Alice Cooper fan, but I respect the guy. But yeah, this is the one you're talking about. Good time. I don't think it's a terrible movie by any means. Some people do. This one, just watched this the other day. This is a Larry Cohen film. God Told Me To. I think it's just called God Told Me To, not God Told Me to Kill, right? Maybe it has two titles. I think it's called God Told Me To. Got this cool Blue Underground version. Yeah, this Larry Cohen is an interesting director. He did like Q the Winged Serpent, a movie called Bone that I haven't seen. What else did he do? Larry Cohen. Oh, The Stuff. He did The Stuff. This is a weird movie, but really, really enjoyable. It's basically about this police detective who starts to investigate a series of murders that are completely unconnected, where all the killers have said, when asked, why did you do this? They said, God told me to. And like, I had a vision and God told me to do it. And so it's basically him going around, trying to get to the root cause. There was quite a lot of twists and turns in this movie, but really good. And especially as far as Larry Cohen films go, I thought this one was the most deep, like intellectually deep. Like Q the Winged Serpent and The Stuff. I mean, those aren't real deep movies. They're real. I think they're good, but this one was more. Yeah, this one was more of like a kind of a crazy thriller, really. Thought the guy that played the police detective, what was his name? I don't remember his name. I thought he did a really good job, though. But yeah, this is a cool movie. Glad I finally got around to watching it. And anything that Larry Cohen's done is worth checking out. He always does these really, like, most of his movies that I've seen anyway, they're like filmed in New York City. They're very gritty, gross parts of New York. And yeah, it was a good one. Yeah. It's Alive. I knew I was missing something, Andre. It's Alive is a great movie. Definitely check out It's Alive. That's probably my favorite Larry Cohen film. The way it went for me was Human Centipede, then Serbian film. I generally avoid the brutal. Oh yeah, some of those brutal Japanese films, man. Ichi the Killer. That's just one of many examples. Japanese and the French know how to make the most fucked up movies, I think, out of anyone on the planet. Something about it, man. Something about it. All right, moving on. This documentary I bought a while back. Finally got to watching it. Halloween, 25 Years of Terror. This is fun. It's got 2 discs. I think I only watched one of the discs. Yeah, what can I say? This is just a fun, kind of low budget documentary on the Halloween series. Nothing too much to say. It does have, there's interviews and stuff here with all the heavy hitters. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, even Tom Atkins, Danielle Harris. Yeah, Nancy, Greg Nicotero, even Clive Barker and Rob Zombie, Edgar Wright. Yeah, if you're over 4 years, 4 hours of features on here. So I think I only watched the basic documentary, which is 84 minutes. It was fun. I don't know if I learned anything I didn't already know. Maybe I did, but it's a fun one. You ever see this around? You can usually Anchor Bay put this out. You can see this in stores if you find it used for a couple of bucks. It's worth grabbing. It's worth grabbing and it's worth watching. One thing that I thought was funny was going back to this real quick. So I follow a YouTube channel on here called Joe Blow. JoeBlow.com has been a website for a long time. They focus on all genres of movies, but there's a subset of Joe Blow called Joe Blow Horror. So if you watch that on YouTube, it's real good. One of the producers and guys that you'll see in a lot of the movies, his name is John Fallon. He's a character, man. He's got a couple interviews in this where he was a little younger at the time, and he just, if you know anything about John Fallon, he's got this larger than life personality, but most importantly, he has his own personality, and he's just this no compromise attitude that he has, which I'm sure people love or hate, but I think he's a cool guy, and so he's got some funny interviews in this. Okay, let me catch up here. recently seen Terrifier, man, that had some really brutal scenes. I'm a fan of the Terrifier series, but I'm with you. There were some scenes that were kind of hard to watch. But being a movie that's meant to be over the top, I enjoy it. I'm a big fan of Art the Clown. I think there is so much potential in that character. The guy that plays him is just, I think, absolutely brilliant. I think Art the Clown has potential to be like this generation's like Freddy Krueger, to be honest. Not to overhype it or anything, but I really believe that. Do I like the Rob Zombie remake? I actually do. Not going to say I like it more or anything, but I enjoy both Rob Zombie Halloween movies. I know that's controversial, but I don't know. I like them. Have you ever seen the clip on Howard Stern of Richard Christie crying over Halloween? Yeah, I love Richard Christie, man. He just seems like such a good dude. He's so passionate about stuff that you catch him at the right time, he'll shed some tears about certain things. I think that's really respectable. Yeah, Richard rules, man. Man, some of these cases are so dirty. I've had them like sitting out just collecting dust. So this next one, I've never heard anyone talk about this. I've seen it twice, and I think it's an underrated movie in the zombie genre. It's called Mutants, directed by David Morley, which I think I know that name from something. But so this is an IFC Midnight film. Really, really like this. Is it French? Yeah, this is a French film. What I liked about this was, first of all, just it's got a good story, but it stands apart in the zombie universe or the zombie subgenre for me because of the way that the people turn. When they turn into zombies, it's like this slow process. I can't remember exactly how long it takes. It might take a couple of days, or it might even take a week. It's like this slow, agonizing process instead of, like every zombie movie has its style of how the people turn, right? Sometimes it's instant. Sometimes, like in The Walking Dead, it's after the person dies, so it might take a day or so. But yeah, like I said, this is like days or maybe even a week. It's not black and white. I can see why you would say that because it looks very colorless, even on the back. If you look real closely, there's some color in there. But yeah, no, it's not black and white. That would have been cool though. But yeah, highly recommended. I know a lot of us are burnt out on zombies. I myself am, but this is also an older movie. This is from 2010. So whether or not, even if you're burned out on zombie movies, if you're still a fan, I'd say check this out just because it does bring something new to the table, in my opinion. I'm gonna skip this next one because I actually fell asleep during it, so I don't have too much to say. Another French movie, The Horde, or in France, La Horde. This there was a lot of talk about this one when it came out, which was back in 2010, same year as that as Mutants. This is nowhere near as good as Mutants. It's pretty good. This is more of your just straight up action zombie movie, as where Mutants was more of a psychological thriller horror. But yeah, this is your typical action zombie. It does bring some new things to the table, I guess. You basically have like the movie is about this basically a gang kind of being in conflict with the police, and basically the zombie outbreak happens, and then the police and the gang members that choose to kind of come together so they can fight the zombies, and so that aspect of it I think is kind of unique. I wouldn't say it's amazing. I mean, it's pretty brutal. It's the action is good. It's entertaining. Never a boring moment. But it doesn't bring a whole lot to the table that you haven't already seen in zombie movies. But if you're a zombie fanatic, I'd say watch it. Otherwise, I can't really recommend it just to everyone. Next, another David Lynch movie, Mulholland Drive. I'd seen this before, but I wanted to watch it a second time. Just like with Empire, in the Inland Empire, I'm not really I don't consider myself qualified to try to go in depth about a Lynch movie, or most of them anyways. But I'll still talk a little bit about them. I really love this. I love what's her name? I love Naomi Watts. Justin Theroux, who you'll see in some Lynch movies. He's a really good actor too. Love Naomi Watts. I'll say that again. Laura Elena Haring, she's good too. Robert Forster. Well, Robert Forster is like a cameo. I don't know if that counts. So this is, you could break this one down pretty simply. It's basically about this girl who you don't know a whole lot about her. She's in the back seat of this limo with these two dudes who you can tell are probably gangsters or some sort of uh, people involved in crime type stuff. They're in a limo. They are obviously she's done something to piss them off, and they're going to kill her. One of the guys pulls out a gun, and then the limo crashes. Crashes. Both of the gangsters die. The girl she's pretty badly injured. She hits her head pretty good, so she has she loses most of her memory, but she does live. And so it's about her basically trying to piece together, trying to find out who she is and what she was doing in that limo and all that. And it's just a really good movie. Definitely recommended. Speaking of zombies, have I seen the Last of Us series? No, I haven't, but I heard it's awesome. The Last of Us, that's a video game, right? If I remember correctly. I've heard so many good things about this series. If I think I'm talking about the right one. I've heard it's amazing. What do you think? Yeah, I've heard people say like it is the best video game adaptation ever, already, even based on just like the first episode. So I'm definitely interested. Played the game, yeah. I heard the game is awesome too. I think my son maybe has played it, but I haven't. I'm not a huge gamer. Never played the game, but the series was good. I heard that they really pleased the fans of the game because I've heard that they kept it so true to the game. So the game fans are just like, fuck yeah, finally. This next one, I'll gloss over this real quick. I already did a review of this. I think the review turned out all right, if I don't say so myself. VHS 99. Again, I like anthologies. I love the VHS movies. Are they perfect? Certainly not. But I thought this was a good time. Maybe the weakest of the entire series. The viral one, VHS Viral, wasn't very good either. I don't know. Yeah, this might be the weakest. Still a good time though. It's got some segments on here I really enjoyed. The last one, VHS 94, I think that one was maybe the best of the series, but the first two were good also. Yeah, this is fun. And sounds like probably you guys too, grew up in I was a teenager in the late 90s, so I think they did a pretty good job of nailing, late 90s culture. It doesn't really make sense to me how they did a VHS 94 and now a VHS 99. I don't understand that at all, but do I have a favorite Shudder original? Psycho Goreman for me. Oh, Psycho Goreman was awesome. Dude, I'm gonna. That's funny that you mentioned that because I did a video. I did a video where I ranked my Shudder original DVDs in my collection. I think I left Psycho Goreman out on X. Maybe I didn't. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna say Psycho Goreman. Trying to think of the other ones that I have. Okay, I can actually see him behind me. Oh, dude. Yeah, I left Psycho Goreman out. What a bummer. I'm gonna have to redo that video. I'm gonna say Psycho Goreman. Yeah. VHS 94 I liked. I can see him behind me. Host was okay. Host was a pretty fun time. Terrified was pretty good. Mortuary Collection, Boys from County Hell. And I have another one called Tigers Are Not Afraid. It's a Spanish movie. I haven't watched it yet though, but I've heard it's really, really good. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Psycho Goreman. You could tell with the marketing behind Psycho Goreman and the movie itself that they were instantly trying to turn it into a cult classic, and I would assume like a series. But I hope that actually happens because it's been a while now, and I have not heard any. Nowadays a movie has to be so successful for sequels to happen, and it's bullshit. because I think it was fairly successful, but now it's like you got to make $1 billion, $1 billion fucking dollars, or you're not going to get a sequel. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, it totally has potential for that, and you can totally tell that that's what they wanted to do from the start. So I hope it actually happens. All right, moving on to The Menu. This was a good one. Not, I don't know if I'd find this a super rewatchable movie, and it's one of those movies where some people are like, does that really fall into in the horror category, or maybe something else? And I get that it is kind of one that kind of straddles the line. I'm gonna say, yeah, I call it a horror movie. It's good. Who doesn't like Anya Taylor-Joy? um, and everyone is good in this. I'm a big Ralph Fiennes. Is it Fiennes? I never knew how to say that. I'm a big fan of that guy, and he's great in this movie, as he is in literally everything he's ever done. So this is basically about a bunch of rich people who go to this super famous restaurant that's like out on this island. You got to take a boat to get there. They're basically just going to go and have the experience, not prepared for what is waiting for them. I guess that's all that I'll say. If you haven't seen it, there's a nice twist, and it's a lot of people were trying to guess what the twist was. A lot of people had assumed it was going to turn into like a cannibal situation, like these people were going to be fed humans. And I'll just say right now that there's no cannibalism, but there's a nice twist. It was a fun movie, maybe not super rewatchable, but it's definitely a good movie. I'll gloss over this one as well. Oh, here's another Shudder film, Nate. This is going to be one of my favorite Shudder films as well. I did a review of this. Glorious. Again, I think my review turned out okay. I think I'm getting a little bit better, but I think it's all right. It's worth watching. The movie itself, though, this is a really, really fun movie. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, so as my son and I saw this at the store, and he ran to it before I did. He's like, "Dad, this is something for you." Obviously, you get all the purple, and you see some tentacles up there and stuff. And initially, I was like, I passed on it because I was like, a lot of people now are trying to make these kind of Lovecraft-esque movies, and I see it as something that's going to become kind of oversaturated, but I wouldn't say that's happened yet. So I was jumping the gun on that. This was good. Yeah, this is not an adaptation of Lovecraft's work at all, but this is very H.P. Lovecraft inspired, and it was a good time. It's basically about this dude who has this bad breakup, and so he's in a bad place. He's trying to cope. He's basically pulls over at this rest stop just to lock himself away from everyone. He's got like his giant bottle of whiskey. Locks himself inside the bathroom so no one can bother him. Can you imagine doing that at a rest stop? Locks himself in there. No, he doesn't lock himself in there. He goes in there. I'm sorry. He gets locked in there. And there's like someone talking to him from the next stall. And then it just kind of goes from there. I won't throw. I'm getting better at not spoiling things, but it's a fun movie. I'd recommend it. All right. Now this one, yeah, not a very good movie, but I guess it was kind of fun. Camel Spiders. Roger Corman presents. I don't even know Roger Corman was still alive because this is from. Okay, well this is 2012. He might not be alive now. This is 10 years ago. Nate, damn, been meaning to watch that. Yeah, check Glorious out. I think you'll dig it. It's probably still on Shudder, I would imagine, since it's a Shudder film, but. So anyways, Camel Spiders, yeah, not I bought it just for the Roger Corman name on there, and I'm like, oh, cool giant spiders, but they're all CGI spiders. I just found this movie super lazy. I can't really recommend this one. It's got C. Thomas Howell in it, but this is one of those like 2 or 3 out of 10 type horror movies that just didn't need to be made. And was it fun? It was sort of fun. Then we got Infinity Pool. I actually have just recorded a review of this. I think it turned out all right. I think it's an all right review. like I said, I kind of have learned how to not spoil movies. I can do a review now without spoiling it, something that I just didn't understand at the beginning. This is good, man. I love Mia Goth, and I like Alexander Skarsgård a lot too. And yeah, this is a pretty shocking, brutal movie. Definitely. Brandon Cronenberg directed this, son of David Cronenberg. Brandon, just knocking out of the park. I think he's got so much potential. I think he's following in his dad's footsteps perfectly, and I think he is going to go on to be one of the greats at this rate. Absolutely. Basically, we have here is you have this married couple, Alexander Skarsgård and his wife, played by Cleopatra Coleman. They are they're vacationing on this, like, it's a made-up country, which I thought was kind of cool. It's a country that doesn't actually exist. It's called like Latolka. It's an island, so they're vacationing there, and they end up meeting Mia Goth and her husband. They make friends, and basically, let's see, how much can I say without spoiling it? I think I can go this far. They're hanging out one day. They were, hanging out at the beach and drinking and stuff, and they're driving back to the resort late at night. It's dark, and they actually hit one of the locals. They hit him with the car and kill him accidentally, of course. But so they're freaking out, as anyone would. Last thing you want to do while you're on vacation, in a different country. And it turns out this country has this law to where if you kill one of their people, you get a choice. You get two choices. You can either A, choose to be executed, or you can pay a fine, and not only pay a fine, but you pay a fine and you're basically paying to be cloned. They will clone you, and the family of the victim gets to kill the clone, and you have to watch it. And let's just say that happens numerous times in this movie, and it is very visceral. It's very gory. It's shocking, and it's just a really good movie. There's some very like psychedelic moments, and yeah, I liked it a lot. I watched it twice. I actually think I liked it more. I think I appreciated it more on the second watch, especially with all the like artisticness that went into the movie. It's not just there's a lot more going on than just the storyline. There's very David's style, the cinematography and everything is very very cool. Let's see. Do I need to scroll down? No. Okay. Did I even watch? Okay, I did watch this one. I'm not a huge fan of the 70s cannibal movies, but I do have a fascination with them, because how could you not? I still find it almost shocking that was a thing. And it still is done every now and then to this day, but not nearly as much. What did you miss? Oh, you walked away for a beer. I thought you were just grabbing one out of your fridge. You missed, I'll catch you up real quick. You didn't miss much. I think all you missed was, The Menu, Glorious, and Infinity Pool, which I talked about that one for a minute or two because I did like it quite a bit. So anyway, back to the 70s cannibal movies. All Italian, as far as I know. I've never seen one that was not Italian. Jungle Holocaust, not as famous as Cannibal Holocaust, but it's up there. And this is directed by the same director that did Cannibal Holocaust, Ruggero Deodato. So this was, if I remember correctly, this was pre-Cannibal Holocaust. I think this was like 3 years earlier. So it's not as good of a movie as Cannibal Holocaust. I hesitate to call any of these good movies, but let's face it, even with like taboo subjects, a movie can still be good, like on an artistic level. And Cannibal Holocaust, for what it is a good movie. I don't like it. But I respect the like cinematography and stuff like that. Like the effects in that movie were just like so good for the time and probably for the budget. So this is kind of like Cannibal Holocaust's little brother, even though older brother technically. Yeah, man, this is I think the best part about this was the performance by the main actor. I don't know his name, but yeah, I thought he was actually he turns in a really good performance, and Ruggero Deodato even comments on that. He's like, they just don't make actors like this anymore, man. Because I mean, dude, this dude is running around the jungle naked the entire movie, completely naked. So he's yeah, how many actors would be willing to do that nowadays? So good point. But the cannibal movies, the 70s Italian stuff are an interesting snapshot in time. But I can see why people have problems with those movies, and I can see why people would absolutely just dislike them. For me, I kind of sit somewhere in the middle. I own like 4 or 5 of them, but I wouldn't call myself a fan necessarily. You got the Grindhouse release of Cannibal Holocaust. I do too. Depressing film, but very good. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that you would have that movie because of like the animal death scenes and stuff. But again, I have it too, and I have the same issue with that kind of thing. I don't know. I imagine the animals probably didn't go to waste. I'm sure the tribe, probably used them for food. Doesn't mean that I think it's okay to kill animals on film just to add shocking scenes to the movie. You could have, you could have fake killed them just like you fake killed the people. And I don't know. Cannibal Holocaust is infamous, but I've never seen it. Nate, yeah, it's like I said, it's a really good movie for what it is, because like I mean the effects and stuff are very real looking. There's a reason why Deodato actually had to go to court. I think he was arrested because the people were actually convinced that it was a snuff film. Jesus, yeah, they killed all these. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 animal death scenes in the movie that are full on real. So all right, moving away from the cannibals, we got the Long Good Friday, Bob Hoskins. This is an Anchor Bay DVD. This is a good movie. It's basically like a British mobster film. Nobody does it like the Italians. First and foremost, nobody does gangster movies like the Italians, but it's still pretty good. There's gangsters in England as well, and the UK. This is basically trying to be, very much trying to be the British Godfather. It's nowhere near as good as the Godfather, but it's good. Even with the the death scene climax, just like Godfather, they almost, I wouldn't say they copied that, but they were definitely influenced. Pretty good if you're a fan of crime movies and mob movies, which I definitely was as a teenager. I still have a soft spot for them. I'd say watch it. This was a fun one. The Nest. Check out that cover. How would you not watch that, right? This is really good. This is a lot of fun. Let's see, who directed this? Okay, nobody I know. But it was produced by Julie Corman, which was Roger Corman's wife. So back in the 80s, I think just to pump out more product, as far as I know, Julie, Roger's wife, she was putting out movies as well. So they were both kind of putting out movies simultaneously, probably in the same studio, I imagine. And I could be misjudging it, but I just assumed that it was just to literally pump out more movies. Maybe maybe it's just because she wanted to. I don't want to discount her. Maybe she did have some artistic integrity going on there, but I really love the girl in this movie. She's no one I'm familiar with, so I don't know her name. But this girl, she's basically the main character. I thought she was really good. Fun movie, giant roach monster movie, basically. It turned out to be way more gory than I expected it to be, so I give it bonus points there. 1987, it was definitely kind of ripping off The Fly by Cronenberg, but there's actually some pretty decent effects here, and I expected this to be just low budget schlock, and it is, but they did put some effort into this. Some of the creatures and stuff are very, very gross and very cool looking. So kind of a shocker. It was way better than I expected it to be. Original Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the DVD I've had for a long time. It actually stopped working. I've never had a. Have you guys ever had a DVD that just stopped working? And not because of the condition. It's not scratched or anything. It's in good shape, but it just stopped working. I put it in 3 different players, and it wouldn't play in any of them, as to where it used to play in everything I'd put it in. It's not that old either. I was going to say, you could say, maybe it degraded or something because of its age, but this is like 10 or so years old. So, I mean, it should still work. Bought it. I even remember buying this at Best Buy. But anyways, I still have it because I still want to keep it, even though it doesn't play. I rebought it on Blu-ray. What can I say about this? This is a classic. Yeah, this is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I think it's everyone's Nightmare on Elm Street movie, right? Yeah, this is just fantastic. This is back when I don't mind the jokey Freddy where he's calling everyone bitch and stuff. That's fine. But I did always kind of miss the Freddy from this movie, and even maybe part 2, where he's part 2, maybe even part 3, right? Where he's more visceral and he's more, he's a savage, terrifying monster. As to where he became, he was always a crazy killer, but he just became more cracking jokes and stuff. But he was more of like a demon in the first one. And this is in my opinion, this is the best. It's the best movie for atmosphere and all of Wes Craven's cool practical effects. They did so much, with a small budget, and there's a lot to be said about that. But I don't need to go on about that for too long because we all know, we've all heard all about it. Man, Interfacer, you're making me wish that I had a beer. I'm drinking this coffee, but now I want beer, but I don't have any. Go back to the comments. Got the this is going back a little bit, but I think we're still talking about Cannibal Holocaust. Got that film, The Test Yourself, back when it was re-released. Watched it through the animal killings one time. I agree. It's one of those movies where you really don't need to see it twice. I think someone should maybe this makes me sound like a pussy or whatever, but I think they should make an edit where they take the animal death scenes out. But then you could say, fuck, there's still rape scenes. They're not real, but there's the movie was supposed to be, in numerous ways, it was supposed to be extreme, and it fucking is. But it's even though I own it, and I've owned it twice, I think it's a one watch. Why would you need to watch it again? People back then seemed to have less consideration of animal welfare. I think you're totally right. 20 plus years of DVD ownership. I've only had 2 discs go bad. That was my first. I don't think I've had a CD go bad either. Not that I know of. Wes Craven directed part 7 too, about Hollywood. I like that one, Andre. Yeah, I like part 7. Coffee's also nice. Yeah, man, I'm a big coffee guy. Rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street, Nate, a few months ago. Jason versus Freddy 2. I'm a fan of Jason versus Freddy. I didn't like it that much when it came out, but I was also kind of a horror noob back when it came out. I like horror way more now, so I appreciate that movie more now. Oh, so the Grindhouse DVD release has the menu option for no killing. I didn't know that. I can see why that would happen. Talking about Cannibal Holocaust again. We've been jumping around a little bit. My bad. That's good. I think it'd be much more watchable that way. Again, it still has rape scenes, but they're not. At least they're not real. Many movies have rape scenes. So, I've talked about this one probably enough already, but I'll gloss over it real quick. Just because I like this movie. I think it's good. It it's low budget, so maybe with a little bit more budget, it could have been a little better. But talking about Monsters from 2010, yeah. This is directed by Gareth Edwards, who would go on to direct the Godzilla movie. I think it's called not King of Monsters. I don't think he directed King of Monsters. I think he directed just the Godzilla remake. Yeah, this was a fun movie. It's basically just about a NASA probe that fell down to Earth, contaminated with some alien life, I guess you could say. So when it hit Earth, it basically spread a contamination, and part of the Earth became infested with aliens, kind of these alien monsters. Real low budget. I mean, not the lowest of budgets, but fairly low budget. It's not a horror movie or anything. It's not even really a sci-fi movie. I guess you could call it. You could say it has elements of both, but I really enjoyed this Monsters. It's worth a watch. If you're wondering where we're at, we're probably 75% through, so I still have there's maybe 10 or 15 left. Just watched this one the other day, and I did a review that I haven't uploaded yet, but this is a 60s horror movie called The Gorgor Girls. I think it's 70s actually, 72. So this is directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis. You might know that name. Maybe you've heard the name. Maybe you're well familiar with him. Directed a movie called The Wizard of Gore. That's his kind of claim to fame. This is a pretty fun movie. For 1972, it's quite gory and it's quite brutal. It's just basically a cop trying to get down to the bottom of this serial killer who's going around killing strippers. And I'd say this has got to be like an early slasher film for 72, because they say the first splatter film was also a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie called Blood Feast. So I mean, he was very this guy was kind of instrumental in gore and slasher movies. Got to go to bed, Andre? Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what time it is in Russia, but it's probably late. Good to see you, man. I appreciate you as always. All right, next we've got another Italian movie, Hitchhike. This is basically, back in the 70s, a lot of Italian directors would just kind of rip off American movies. They were just going to make their own version. So this is, a rip off of The Hitcher, but it's a really good movie, actually. I thought this was maybe not as good as The Hitcher, but really good. Hitchhike. Directed by Pasquale Festa Campanale. Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with him. But yeah, this is just a good movie. 3 actors. They all did a great job. You got the bad guy, and then you got the 2 good guys. I guess you could say. Really good. I'd say check it out. Took me by surprise, actually. Interfacer says Blood Feast. That was a gut punch for early cinema crowds. Can you imagine? I don't know if that movie played in cinemas, but assuming it did, yeah, it's I mean, I think that movie mid or late 60s, I think. So that had to have been hard to watch for people. And Herschel Gordon Lewis, man, he had to have gone through hell through his work. For a fact, I mean, people had to have sent him death threats and stuff just because he was so far ahead of the curve, making these gore movies when no one else was. No one else that I know of. I mean, who else was making gore, like extreme gore movies in late 60s and very early 70s? By 70s people were doing it, yeah, but 60s, like who was doing extreme gore in the 60s? Got another Italian movie. You guys are going to know this one. This one's very famous. Dario Argento Inferno. Not my favorite Argento movie. I think I like Suspiria more, but this is still really good. This is considered part of the Three Mothers trilogy, which I think the Suspiria is part 1. I think this is part 2. I can't remember what part 3 is, but there's 3 movies. I think the third one I think is called The Three Mothers or something like that. Um, yeah, really cool atmospheric movie. In my opinion, um, I like Suspiria more. Oh, drive-in theater. Yeah, I think you're right, man. For Blood Feast and stuff. Yeah, I think drive-ins got a lot of movies back then that like regular cinemas wouldn't play. I wasn't around, but just from what I've gathered and what I've heard from like Joe Bob Briggs and stuff, I think that's I think that's kind of how it worked. I don't know if drive-ins only played lesser known movies or did they play everything? I can't remember because I know they had drive-in theaters existed still even when I was a little kid. I never got to go to one though. I think there's still a few that exist, but they're very few and far between. But yeah, when I was a little kid, they were not popular or common, but there were a few. I remember hearing about them. It's a bummer I didn't get to experience that though, man. I know that like, everything comes full circle and everything becomes retro at some point. So I know that some people do drive-ins nowadays. I'm gonna have to try to find one because I think that'd be really fun, really fun. All right, now we got a Japanese movie. Hideo Nakata directed Dark Water. This movie was one of the inspirations for the American film The Ring, which I'm a big fan of. Um, this is good. Yeah, this is basically about this woman and her daughter. The woman is just recently divorced and she's got a young daughter, and they're very much struggling to get by. And her daughter, let's see, I'm trying to remember. It's a psychological horror. I can't remember exactly everything that happens. I'm struggling to talk about that one. Maybe I'm getting a little bit of mushy brain, but it's a good movie. I liked it. Let's see. It was a mix. Yeah, that makes sense. Going back to the drive-in theaters, a mix of movies. Saw Friday the 13th Part 4 and Goonies in drive-ins back. That's awesome, dude. Damn. That would have been Friday the 13th Part 4 or any of those would have been really fun in a drive-in. Plus, think about like what I'm imagining is when you're in a drive-in, there are no rules. So if you're a smoker, you can smoke, or you can. I know people would bring beers and stuff. You're not supposed to drink in a car, but I'd do it if I knew I could get away with it. I'd have a couple of beers and sober up before I drove off. But anyways, that's another story, I guess. Right? Don't drink and drive. I don't condone that. I did a review of this. Thought it turned out all right. This is one of my early movie reviews. This is way far removed from everything we're talking about here, but The Whale, Darren Aronofsky. I'm not necessarily a huge Aronofsky fan, but I do think he's a good director, to say the least. I loved this movie, actually. It was really cool to see Brendan Fraser coming back. He turns in a killer performance here. Yeah, it's a sad movie, but it's not so sad that I think you should not watch it. I don't think it's gonna like ruin your day or anything. It does have uplifting moments, and I just really liked it. So watch The Whale if you're open to that kind of thing. Nate, what takes up more of my time, movies or music? Lately, it used to be music, but lately I'm trying to watch like I guess kind of 50-50. Lately I'm watching more movies than I have in a long time, probably since I was a kid. But I'm trying to watch like one movie per day. Obviously, that's hard to do, on work weeks, but I'm still doing it. Maybe I'll watch two on a weekend day. So that's pretty much that. And music, I try to listen to when I walk Louie, my dog. When I walk him, we'll walk for an hour or so, and I'll listen to music that whole time. And I love listening to music before I go to bed at night. That's For me, that is and I drive for work. I drive, so I listen to music too when I drive. So, but yeah. So, oh, Interfacer, you finally saw The Whale. I think we were talking about that back when it came out. Glad you liked it. Glad you didn't think it was super depressing and wished you hadn't seen it. I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was great. Truly miss those days. We would sit on the hood of our parents' car. That's cool. Yeah. I'm bummed that I missed them. I didn't entirely miss them. Like I said, they existed when I was a little kid, but my parents, maybe they didn't exist where I lived, because my parents, they would take us to theaters, and we never went to a drive-in or anything. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I've seen this. Okay. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Which one is this? I'm confused now, because I showed one of the Planet of the Apes movies at the beginning of this, and I thought, oh, okay. So it would appear, and I didn't mean to do this, it would appear that I bought this movie twice. And I have it on Blu-ray, and I didn't mean to buy it twice. So, whoops. I was trying to get I think I bought Dawn, so I don't have War. I was trying to buy War of the Planet of the Apes, and I don't have it. So that's okay. You were concerned it would give you PTSD. Yeah, no, it Back to the Whale. Yeah, it is a sad movie, but it's still, I just feel like it's so worth watching. It's one of those movies where it's like, I think they just did it right, where it was sad and depressing, but not to where it like ruined the experience for you. Going back to John Wick, and I actually didn't know this was from the same writer, which I kind of assumed this was just kind of a John Wick ripoff, but you could call it that, but it was really good. Anyone seen Nobody? I've always been a big fan of Bob Odenkirk. He's fucking great. This movie was a lot of fun, very John Wick-esque. It's basically about this guy. He's just a normal family guy. He's got like 2 kids and his wife or whatever, and they're victims of a home invasion. And so he's in the middle of the home invasion. He has a chance actually to potentially stop the robbers, but he chooses not to, because he doesn't want anyone to get hurt. But his family, they just kind of, after that, it's kind of sad in a way, because his family just kind of like, they kind of lose respect for him, because they feel like he could have stopped the situation, where I was totally on his side. I think he did the right thing. So they just, he feels kind of emasculated. His family looks at him differently after that. And he ends up kind of stewing on it. And basically, the only family member that still, seems to respect him is his youngest daughter. She's probably like 8 or 9. And the thieves steal her bracelet, and he's just stewing, and he decides to go after the thieves to get that bracelet back. And in case you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything, because there's a little bit more to it than that. But basically, yeah, he decides to go after the thieves, and it kind of just envelops from there. Really fun movie. I thought Bob Odenkirk did a really good job. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're a John Wick fan, or just check it out regardless. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street on Blu-ray. I bought this to replace that DVD that corrupted or whatever. Now here's a fun one. Elijah Wood, Come to Daddy. I had been wanting to see this for a while. This is basically about, so Elijah Wood gets a letter in the mail one day from his dad. Who he hadn't seen his dad since like he was like a little kid, and the letter was like, I want to see you or whatever. Here's my address. Obviously, I don't know. I wouldn't certainly show up to an address or to a letter in the mail like that, but he's got daddy issues, obviously, and he goes to see his dad, and things just kind of go crazy from there. His dad turns out to be, as he kind of expected, not a very good guy, but it goes from there. I wouldn't say it's not a horror movie or anything, but it was just it's a dark movie, and I thought it was a pretty good time. I think Elijah Wood's a really good actor. And, yeah, check out that one. Missed out on this one in the 90s, late 90s. I think this is late 90s or even early 2000s. Deep Rising, always wanted to see it. I always liked monster movies, and I've been enjoying monster movies more now than I think I ever have. Like I love Godzilla and King Kong and stuff now to where I didn't really care about them before, but this is just a dumb monster action movie. uh, Ocean monsters. It's fun. Same director, Steven Sommers. He did The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Remember that? I'm a big fan of those Mummy movies he did. So he did this. I think this came out right after The Mummy, the first Mummy, but I could be wrong. Right after or right before, or something like that. But yeah, if you're a monster movie fan, this is a fun one. Let's see, we got about 8 left or so. Picked this one up recently. It's still a fairly new release. Knock at the Cabin. I am not an M. Night Shyamalan fan by any means. I do think he's done some good work. Sixth Sense I thought was pretty good. Signs I thought was all right. He's done some good stuff. But I just kind of stopped paying attention to his work. I just felt like so much of, I just didn't care anymore. But I heard good things about this one, decided to check it out, and I liked it. I don't regret buying it. It's definitely a cool movie. It's basically about this family. They're staying at their cabin out in the woods, vacationing or whatever, and random people just show up, and they're like, this is what needs to happen, guys. They're like, the world is about to end. We need to go through this process in order to save the world. They're basically like, one of you needs to die, and one of you needs to die at the hands of one of the others. So one of you needs to kill each other, and it will save the world. Obviously, that's a pretty crazy premise, but I'll just leave it at that. I really love Dave Bautista. I think he's a great actor. If you don't know who he is, or you're not real familiar, he was a wrestler. He was in like WCW or WWE wrestling, whatever it's called. So usually when wrestlers become actors, we've seen it done already. And I usually don't have very much faith in those wrestlers, but maybe I shouldn't be like that, because he said from the start, he's always wanted to be an actor, and he said, he's retired from wrestling, and he's like, I'm going to give this my 100%. I'm very dedicated, and I want to be a great actor. And so far, he's really been killing it. If you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, he's only at the beginning, so he's only in it for a couple minutes, but he turns in just this really good performance. Honestly, maybe one of my favorite performances of the entire movie. And so anything Dave Bautista does right now, I'm on board. Another A24 film, It Comes at Night. Now, we're talking about depressing films, and this is a depressing film. This is another one of those, like, it's just bleak. I mean, nothing real good happens in this. It's a post-apocalyptic movie. There's a virus that's kind of, and this is this is pre-COVID, mind you. This is from 2017. So there's a virus that just kind of, not a lot of information is given, which is kind of cool. Keeps it kind of ambiguous, but there's a virus that's just kind of ravaging through, the entire world. It's killing people left and right. It would seem that there aren't really that many people left. And it's about this family just out living on their property, trying to survive. Yeah, that's really it. I like post-apocalyptic movies, and this one kind of stands apart from most of them. It's not like a Mad Max-esque action or anything like that. It's pretty good. Bleak though, very bleak. One of those movies where by the end you're just like, oh my god, what did I just do? What did I just do to myself? All right. Punisher Warzone, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson. It's the guy that played Frank Castle in this movie. Passed away at 58 years old. What, a week or two ago. I don't know what happened, but obviously gone way too early. This is a pretty decent movie. It's very brutal, especially for a Marvel movie, man. This movie is brutal. Punisher's, I'm a big comic guy. Punisher's my favorite comic character of all time. So I have pretty high standards for who plays Frank Castle. My take on this movie is Ray Stevenson was a great Frank Castle. The movie's kind of dumb in certain ways though, but whatever. It is brutal though. A lot of people compare this to like a Frank Castle basically being Jason Voorhees. People like say this is kind of like a Punisher slasher film. It really is. It's very, very brutal, very violent. Oh man, I recently suffered through the 3 worst Halloween movies: Halloween H2O, Resurrection, and Curse of Michael Myers. I thought The Curse was all right. Still not very good. Resurrection was just god awful. I'll never watch that again. And H2O is just, I'll probably never watch that again either. No need to. Got a Russian film here, Night Watch. This is this is a lot of fun. I'd been meaning to watch this for years and years. I'll just kind of read the back. The forces of light and darkness have coexisted in a delicate balance for hundreds of years until now. It's basically you got the Night Watch, which are basically vampires. They're kind of like half vampires, keeping the vampires in check. A lot of cool special effects. Very fun movie. I'd recommend it. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This movie's a lot of fun. Sorry, I'll try to keep up with the chat. You got Interfacer, you have The Curse and H2O, Halloween H2O, both in the same Blu-ray disc, and don't care about the disc. Yeah, no, I'll pass. I'll never watch those again. Anyways, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This was like a pre-Scream meta horror movie. Really like this one. This one I thought was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'd actually never seen it until a couple of weeks ago, so very cool. Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. This is a Hammer film. Pretty entertaining. Not my favorite Hammer film by any means. I'd much rather watch the Draculas and stuff like that, but it's kind of fun. You could tell that they kind of probably meant for this to be a series, but it never was. It was the one-off. It's decent. 1972. Got 3 left here, I think. Candyman Day of the Dead. This is, I can't remember if this is the 2nd or 3rd Candyman movie, but I thought it was actually pretty fun. Didn't have any expectations for it, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty decent. You know, anytime you get to see Tony Todd playing Candyman is a good time. It's not bad. What can I say about this one? George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. It's an all-time classic that I like to revisit. Shit. This is the remake, by the way. This is not. This is the Tom Savini directed remake. This is not the original black and white movie. Yeah, Tom Savini with Tony Todd. I was just talking about Tony Todd. He's great in this, and a lot of people actually prefer this to the original. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's on par. If you haven't seen the remake, check it out. And last but not least, well, maybe least, I don't know. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. Like I said, all Nightmare on Elm Street movies to me are fun, so I don't think it's too terrible. But anyways, guys, that's it. That was a huge stack of movies. I think I need to go take a breather, go take Louis for a walk. But like you guys said, this was a fun chat. I really enjoyed it. Take care, guys. We'll talk soon.